Welcome to Living Well. We're so glad that you joined us this afternoon to hear more about what you can do to live well. When we say live well, we're talking about living that abundant life that Christ talked about in John 10:10, when Jesus says, I've come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. So today, our presentation today is about the 3 M's of aging well. I want to remind you that this presentation is for educational purposes only. We do not assess, diagnose, or treat. You can certainly take notes, but if you have a specific question that you want to ask your physician about how you can age well, we ask that you do that. Hi, Emilyn.
Hi, Dr. Sankey. It's so great to be here again.
I know we have an amazing topic. I think they're going to enjoy it, Emilyn. It's really about, all of us are getting old, and we know older, let's rephrase that, older. And so our topic today is about the 3 M's of aging well. Now, when we talk about the 3 M's of aging well, I don't know if anyone knows what they are. Should we give the audience a chance to guess what they are, or should we just go ahead and tell them?
See if they can guess.
Okay, all right. So let's see. Open your mics. Let's see if we can guess all 3 M's. We'll give you a shot at it. And then if you can't guess, then we'll go on with the topic. Anybody know what the first M is?
Memory.
Memory. Oh, yay. Thank you, Alicia. Well, you have won the first prize of saying thank you. Who's the second? So what's the second?
Meditation.
That's good. Larry got it. Meditation.
Oh, meditation. Okay, great. And we have one more M. What's that? Come on, y'all. We've been talking about it. Well, Emily, do you want to tell them?
Yes, if you don't use it, you lose it.
What is that, y'all? Can you guess?
Movement.
Movement. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
So today we are talking about the 3 M's of aging well. It is your memory, your movement, and your meditation. So I'm going to start out by talking about the memory, and then Emma's going to talk about the movement, and then we're going to wrap up with meditation and give you an opportunity to ask us questions. So we all know that each and every day we age. Whether we want to age or not, we are aging. And so what we do know is that our memory can either be sharp, forgetful, or sometimes we have memory loss. Now look at this little picture that has some mastering of the memory. We know that we see things, we hear things, we taste things, we do many things, and our brain encodes in our mind all of those things that we've seen, taste, touch, all of that. Then it stores it in the mind. Where the challenge comes sometimes is retrieving that information. Have you ever set your keys down somewhere and couldn't find them? Or you were looking for that pair of shoes or that special shirt, you couldn't find it? Or you walked in the room and it's like, I know I'm in here for something. What did I come in here for? So then you retrace your steps. So what we're going to focus on today is how do you keep your memory sharp? Meaning that when something goes in, it's encoded, you store it, and when you need it, you can bring it back out again. We'll talk about all of those. So when we talk about a sharp memory, we're talking about the mental ability to recall information. You know, of some people who say, when I was 3 years old, and they can tell all the things they did when they were 3 or 5 or 10 or 7. And you're like, I don't remember any of that. How did they remember that? Well, many times when we see something, engage in conversation, if we don't make an intentionality of really engaging in that, we won't remember. We've all have had it happen to us before. My name is Jennifer. And then as soon as that person walks away, you don't remember their name. But if you associate their name with something, my name is Jennifer, she jumps ropes, or her name is Jennifer, she likes jam or jelly, or something to help you remember that person's name. So next time you see them, you won't say, I know I've seen you somewhere before, but I don't remember your name. So a sharp memory takes discipline. It takes practice. In fact, if someone tells you their name for the very first time, one way to remember it is to repeat it back. Nice to meet you, Jennifer. Nice to meet you, Deborah. Nice to meet you. And if you say their name back to them, that is one way to help your memory be sharp. And then learning tests. You know, we've all had tests and we've had to memorize stuff for a test. We use all types of things to remember things on tests. And so many of you may have some skills that you used while you were in school that help you remember information that you knew that you would have to recall later on in life. And so all of us use different ways to remember things, and whatever you did then, continue to use it because you want to keep your memory sharp. But sometimes we're forgetful, and that's all a part of aging. It does happen as we age. We tend to lose some of our memory mass or our brain mass, and we don't remember as well. Takes us a little bit longer to learn things. We may have to repeat things more than once or twice, or do them using our hands to remember them. We don't always remember the details. Sometimes we can get from A to Z, but we don't remember the B, C, D, E, and F. But again, you want to train your memory to your mind to remember all of those things. That when you store it, that is stored in such a way that you recall it and you can remember it. So as we get older, sometimes we get more and more disorganized. Now that's a sign that you are not paying attention, or I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So if we begin to just kind of sit things here, there, and not in an organized fashion, then our memory, we're going to become more forgetful. So for me, what I've done, I did it a couple of years ago because I was finding I was wasting time getting ready for work or church or wherever, because I couldn't find that white blouse or that yellow blouse or that blue dress or whatever. So in my closet now, I have them all by colors. So if I can get to the color in that section, I most likely will find that dress or shoes or whatever I need, because now it's in this section. So that's helping me to not be as disorganized, trying to organize things in my mind. And then when we misplace things. So for instance, if you always put your keys in your purse, always put your keys in your purse. If you hang them up in a place in your house, always put it there. Don't lay it anywhere else. So I had an example the other week where I lost my cell phone in my house. I had it. I knew I had it. I always carry it certain places where I go, because you always want to have your phone close to you in case something happens, right? So anyway, I leave out the door and the Lord reminds me, you don't have your cell phone. And I come back into the house and I look where I thought I placed the cell phone. It was not there. Only by the grace of God, I'm looking, and I have several alarms on my phone to remind me when to do different things. And that's a good way to help you remember too. It was only when that alarm went off that I found my phone. It was not where I normally put it. It had actually had fallen in between the mattress and the bed frame. I would not have found that phone if that alarm had not gone off, because I wouldn't have thought to look there, because that's not where I store it. So again, I put it in a place and it slipped down and fell in between the mattress and the frame. So my lesson that day was, don't put your phone on the backside of your bed where it can slip down and fall down. So again, begin to put things in the same place all the time so you'll keep your memory strong. Memory loss. So after the age of 65, this is research. It says that 40% of us will experience some type of memory loss. So let me tell you why sometimes we can't remember what we did and where we put things. Stress. We cannot underestimate stress on the brain, because when we're stressed, we oftentimes become very disorganized in what we do. We're not consistent. We just kind of try to function. The other thing is deficiencies of any type of vitamin, particularly vitamin B12. If you're deficient, your mind is not going to be as sharp. So again, sometimes we minimize the vitamins that we need in our body to think and function well. If you start a new medication, the side effects could be affecting your memory, clouding your memory, not thinking as clear. Thyroid disease, kidney diseases, liver diseases, those also can affect your memory. One thing about the thyroid, it is a hormone, meaning that hormone can affect, that hormone imbalance can affect your thinking. And the kidney, if the kidney is not functioning well, the toxins are building up in the kidneys, it affects your mind. Another one I just thought of, if your sodium level, if your salt level is low, you will have periods of confusion. And if you have a liver disorder, because the liver, remember the liver is the filter in the body and it filters out toxins. But if it's clogged up, it's going to clog your brain. So every organ in the body affects the brain. It affects the way we think and function. And so don't minimize it. So when you begin to feel like you're not thinking as clearly, track back and try to think, am I urinating enough? Is my urine clear? Is it cloudy? Is it, am I having any issues going on in my body? And that may be your signal to go to the doctor to make sure they can do lab work to find out what's going on with your memory. People who have chronic alcoholism, they are also at risk for memory loss. or a clouded memory or uncertain memory, and then dementia and Alzheimer's. So what I would say to you is that the first sign that you keep misplacing your phone or misplacing your keys or can't find that address is not that you have dementia or Alzheimer. There may be some of these things that are going on, but what I say to you, it is a warning sign to pay attention to see if something's going on with you that you need to correct. Or if you see a family member, that this happens to a family member, that would also be a clue to you that you may want to recommend or suggest that they go to the doctor. Many times they go to the doctor and doctors want to give you a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or dementia, and it may just be a vitamin deficiency. It could just be a stressful event that someone's going through. It could be as simple as correcting, maybe their thyroid or their kidney function, if there's something going on there. So again, don't put yourself into that dementia and Alzheimer's category, not prematurely, because God can keep your mind in perfect peace. So some serious memory problems. This is what you want to pay attention to. If you are with family or friends and they keep asking the same question over again and repeating the same story over again, that is not vitamin D and vitamin all that stuff. It's probably something going on. So you want to make sure that you suggest or help them get to the doctor. Or if they're getting lost in familiar places, like they're heading home and they end up, on another street and thinking their house is that house and it's not their house. I mean, we've all gone to the wrong cars sometimes in the parking lot because we think it's our car. But if they're in a familiar place and they get lost, or they say to you, oh, I was heading home and I got lost today. You want to pay attention to that, because that means that there's something that could be structural, neurological, that's going on in the brain. If they're not able to follow directions. Now, all of us have some challenges, go down the street to the right, to the left and all that. That could happen. But if it's a simple instruction, like go to the kitchen and get me the milk, or get me this, or set the table, or go to the car and get something, they can't really process that information. It could be something going on. But again, do not diagnose it with dementia or Alzheimer's. It may be stress. It could be stress. Or they're getting confused about time, place, and people. Now parents do it all the time. They call their children everybody's name, but the right name sometimes, because they're trying to find it. Now that's not confusion. That's not a serious problem. It just happens. But again, if it happens all the time, that they think that they're at church when they're really at home, or they wake up and they think they're, someplace else, and they believe that is a problem. That's something that you should be concerned about. And if you notice someone that's neglecting their personal safety, like they're just being careless, leaving the doors unlocked, or leaving the door open, or leaving the keys in the door, that is unsafe. Or if they're not keeping themselves up, their hygiene, you notice their clothing is wrinkled and different things are going on, that's not normal, especially if they didn't dress like that before. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you begin to ask questions and see exactly where is your mind, and see if you can get them medical help, because that is a key of serious medical memory problems. But I have some really good news. You can age well with a great mind, right? So that's the good news. Keep your mind, your memory, your mental skills, keep them healthy. Make a list for your tasks that you have for the day, because many times we have more than one or two things to do. Write it down, write it on your calendar. Those are things are okay, because remember, once you put information in, it's going to be stored, but you need to retrieve it. So making to-do lists are great. I mean, when we were young, my father used to tell us, write it down, because you can't remember it all. He was right. You cannot remember everything. Like sometimes when you're laying in bed, like, I think today I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this and that. By the time you get up out of the bed, sometimes you've forgotten about half of the things that you said you were going to do. But if you write them down, it can help you accomplish those goals. Stay involved in things that are interesting to you and in hobbies. So if you don't have a hobby, get a hobby. But if you have a hobby, enjoy those things. I used to enjoy sewing and playing tennis and doing a lot of things. Continue to stay involved with people, because when you do that, your mind is stimulated properly with the right people. Reading is also good. Every morning I read for probably 30 minutes, because I need to read anyway to get information in my mind, to learn new information, but it does stimulate your mind. And I also journal. So it's not only what I read, but what I write about that helps me keep my mind sharp. Get adequate rest. You cannot minimize the importance of a rest. Let me tell you about rest. If you don't get enough rest, you will be irritable, you will be forgetful, you'll be miserable. So you're trying to remember, we're trying to keep the mind sharp. So you need your rest. That's 7 to 8 hours of sleep you need every night. We struggle with it, but just pay attention to how you behave when you don't get enough rest. Just pay attention and you'll realize the very importance of rest to help your memory and help you to age well. And then eat nutritious food that's rich in vitamin B12. Limit those processed foods. Let me tell you, processed foods have all kinds of chemicals in them. We've talked about that. It can affect your memory. And so what you want to do is the fresh fruits and vegetables, nuts and grains, make that the majority part of your meal so that you can keep your mind aging well. And then engaging in physical exercise gets out oxygen in the brain, keeps it going, stimulates the brain, keeps the function of the brain better. You want to be active. And sometimes we don't feel like it. I'm that person sometimes. I don't feel like it, but I get on my trampoline, I jump, get that oxygen in my body because I may not feel like walking for 30 minutes, so I'll jump for 15 minutes, because I figure I'm getting exercise in. And so whatever it takes, whatever you need to do, keep your mind active, your body active, and you will age well. Relieve your stress. Always try to identify what is causing me to be so stressed. Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling down? What is that? And once you identify it, try to minimize that or remove it if you can from your life. Make sure you have strong support systems, sister, brother, close friend, someone that you can call and say, I'm not really feeling my best today. I'm not sure why, but I need to talk, and let them talk and you listen. Because many times stress is all because you don't have anyone to tell your what's going on with you. So find a strong support system, somebody that you can confide in when you are stressed. It's okay to feel bad about situations. My mom's birthday would have been this week on Wednesday. That day, I just couldn't get I just felt like it was just like a floppy day for some reason. No, it was on Thursday. It was a floppy day. I'm like, oh, I can't get this to community. My mind's a little cloudy a little bit, but it's okay. So the day has passed and I'm back to myself again. Engage in mentally stimulating activities, puzzles, right? Don't do that. Do active things to keep your mind active. Watching a long TV for long periods of time, not healthy for the brain because it's a passive activity. You want the active activity, puzzles, play Uno, play Jeopardy, play, Wheel of Fortune, whatever. But those are the things that stimulate your mind. And that's what keeps you aging well. And then lastly, set a daily routine. When we get up and just kind of haphazardly do this, that, and the other, it really does cloud the mind. The mind is not trained, and it makes it difficult for us to retrieve the information or how we do things from day to day. So if you want to age well, those are the 10 things that you can do to your mind to help you age well. Emilyn, we've talked about the mind, a little bit about the body. I talked a little bit about exercise, but I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you talk about movement and why that's so important to aging well. So as soon as you open your mic, we'll be so excited to hear what you're talking about.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Sankey. I am so glad to talk about movement. So one of the main reason I found when I was researching that can speed up aging is inactivity. Inactivity can increase obesity, which can lead to other comorbid conditions like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, inflammation, depression, to name a few. Our goal is to increase mobility. Exercise can reduce the incidence of age-related disease by 23%. Can you imagine? Age-related condition, 23%. So movement can come in different ways. There's some of us, maybe we cannot do all this aerobic exercise, but we can move. Movement is so important. I was reading where they recommend that you must take at least 4,000 steps a day, minimum. So just simple walking is important, help with aging, memory loss, and all what Dr. Sankey just talked about, and all these other comorbid conditions. So walking, taking 4,000 steps a day, optimum is 10,000, but sometimes we cannot get to 10. If you can get to 4,000, good, but try to always aim for 10,000. Some of us maybe cannot do the 4,000 because of mobility condition, but we can still try to walk instead of, scooting down the sidewalk to go for the mail. If you can walk, just get up and walk to the mailbox. While you're in the house, you're sitting watching TV. Every time a commercial comes on, make it a habit to get up and move. Movement is important. The research also said that 12,000 steps, we don't have to exceed 12,000 steps because there was no benefit. They didn't find any benefit when you exceed 12,000 steps. That doesn't mean that if you take 12,000 steps, you are going to, it's dangerous, because sometimes some of our activities that we engage in, maybe we might do over 12,000 steps. I know when I was working as a nurse, the amount of steps, I took more than 12,000 steps, each time I worked, because the constant up and down, back and forth, from patient room to the desk and so forth, it involves a lot of steps. But aim for goal is 10,000 steps. So some things that exercise can do for you. Mobility, I'm talking about mobility, and the form of mobility I'm talking about is exercise. So exercise helps build and strengthen muscles. As we get older, sometimes our muscles get weaker. So in order to prevent falls and accidents from happening, we need to build our muscles. As people age, they lose muscle mass and strength. Resistant training is one of the best ways to help slow that decline. It helps maintain muscle strength and power. It can also help reduce the incidence of disease. It helps improve the brain and our mood and help to maintain independence longer. Researchers at the University of Alabama found that resistant training is safe and effective even for the elderly. So try, you don't have to go to the gym. You can start with things at home. If you have one of those bands, you can, pull those bands. That's good resistance. You have some of those balls that you can squeeze. It helps build your muscle. Lifting cans, just simple, if you have a 1 pound weight or something like that, you can lift those. All of those help build your muscle. So as we get older, we need to keep our muscles strong, keep building muscles. Exercise also improves bone density. Do you know that around age 30, you stop increasing bone mass? Can you imagine at age 30? So in your 40s and 50s, you slowly start losing bone mass. So exercise can help increase bone density when you're younger, and as you get older, it can shave off the incidence of osteoporosis. Osteoporosis can cause weakness, bone, and breakage easily in older people. So doing again weight-bearing exercise can help increase bone mass and strengthening when we engage in those activities. So engage in activities like walking or aerobic are especially important after menopause. While older people can't gain bone mass by physical activity, but physical activity can help the prevention of this bone loss. Low impact activities like cycling and yoga and swimming aren't enough to be effective for bone loss. But with the combination of weight bearing and these other forms of exercise, you can improve balance and reduce the risk of fracture. Another thing exercise is important for movement. It increases or lengthens telomeres. I don't know if you've heard of this before, but telomeres are like the caps on the end of your DNA. You know, your DNA is very important. That's what, determine, who you are. It also, help you to stay healthy. So just think about a shoelace. At the end of the shoelace, you have the cap to prevent the shoelace from raveling. So that is what telomeres are. They are the end of our DNA that prevent our DNA from raveling and to cause problems. So exercise can lengthen, they decrease aging because they can hinder cell division. Telomeres length is connected to certain chronic conditions, especially high blood pressure, stroke, and heart disease. Several studies have found that higher levels of physical activities are related to longer telomeres in some people compared to those who are sedentary. As you age, telomeres seem to shorten. So although there are other factors that can affect telomeres, exercise can help prevent the rate of telomeres from shortening. The longer, the better. The longer the telomeres, the better. So researchers believe that by increasing exercise, doing exercise, it reduces the risk of aging-related disease. Also, exercise can improve cognition, movement. Physical activity is now seen as one of the most favorable methods for improving cognition throughout life and reducing the risk of age cognitive decline. Although researchers can say for sure that exercise actually prevents dementia, studies show that most physical exercise is likely to reduce the risk of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease. According to Dr. Stephen Austin, exercising muscle produce myokines, which are small molecules that have all kinds of benefits for the brain. So if we can exercise, it will improve our memory. He also says that exercise can also improve the quality of our sleep. As Dr. Sankey was saying, sleep is so important. So it can improve our sleep and also the quality of our sleep. And if we have good sleep, we know it's going to also improve our health. Exercise has an effect at a cellular level. Apart from managing healthy diet, exercise and staying active are also important components to producing healthy cells. Regular exercise has been shown to slow down the aging and keep the body revitalized. It helps maintain a healthier and larger group of stem cells in several different organs. You know, our stem cells are the building block of who you are. So if we can keep those stem cells healthy, it's going to prevent other diseases. I know if we don't have, if our stem cells are out of work, we can come down with stuff like cancer and other problems, skin condition, anxiety, all of that. So we need to exercise. So not to mention that that exercise helps prevent the risk of cardiovascular disease and other health complications that can also affect your healthy cells. So the more we exercise is the better for us. So let us move. Do not stay sedentary. Movement is so important. And we can start including movement in our daily activity just by, you know, looking for ways on how to increase movement. Because I know lots of times and we can walk maybe to the grocery store because it's not very far away. And instead we hop in our car and we go. So instead of doing that, let's think about walking. Enjoy the fresh air. Enjoy the beauty of nature around you. All of these things help relax our mind and help us put in a good frame of mind and help with our cognitive mentation, help, decrease our comorbid condition and help us with aging. Because there are some people who age well. They are 90-something years old and they still have good memory. They are still active. And if you look at the behavior, you will see that these people engage in activities of movement. They're always on the move. So if you want to stay healthy, I should say, if you want to stay looking younger for a long time, because aging is something we cannot avoid, but we can stay healthy and stay younger and stay active if we include some of these things that we're talking about today, improving our memory and also increasing movement by exercising.
Amazing. So all we need to do is start to get moving and we'll kind of increase our age. We can age well by moving more. Absolutely. So
Yes.
it's so great. Let me share with you about meditation. So we've talked about our memory, how to keep it sharp. We've talked about movement, why that is so important. Let me tell you a little bit more about meditation. And sometimes we minimize the value and the importance of meditation, but there's research out there regarding meditation. And I think you're going to talk a little bit about that too, also, Emilyn, about meditation and your health. Do you want to go first? And then
Okay.
I can wrap up. Go ahead.
That's right. Okay. So I just want to talk about meditation, the important physical, what meditation does to the body physically. So I know you have heard about meditation. Yes, it's important because meditation helps reduce stress reduction. Mental and physical stress can increase levels of stress hormone called cortisol. This produces many harmful effects of stress, such as inflammation and a chemical called cytokines. Cytokines can affect the mood. It can lead to depression. Thus, can, and also if you don't have, it can also disrupt sleep, I should say. So if we are anxious, we can increase our blood pressure, and this can contribute to cloudy minds and cloudy thinking. So reducing stress is important. And if we meditate, it can reduce stress. How simple. But many of us, I know I'm included, we sometimes stress ourselves out and then we ended up with cloudy minds and problem sleeping and all of that. Also, meditation can help with anxiety. It can help reduce anxiety. A meta-analysis including 1,300 adults found that meditation may decrease anxiety. Another study involving 47 people with chronic pain found that after the participants completed an 8-week meditation program, they found noticeable improvement in their depression and anxiety. Habitual meditation can help reduce anxiety, help improve depression, and also help reduce pain. So sometimes instead of taking a pain medication, maybe if we start meditating, maybe it can help improve the pain. It also promotes emotional health. Some form of meditation can lead to improve meditation, I should say, can lead to improve self-image, and you can have a more positive outlook on life. It enhances self-awareness, make you again feel better about yourself, know who you are. It can lengthen attention span. So sometimes when you find that your attention span is not that great, maybe you can start with meditation. Studies after studies have shown that people who do regular practice meditation regularly, perform better on a visual task and had a greater attention span than those without meditation, who did not do meditation. Meditation may reduce age-related memory. I know no one wants to have dementia. No one wants to have Alzheimer's, but meditation can help with your memory. Few more things meditation can help with. Medication can help fight addiction. It can help with addiction, help improve sleep. And I talked about pain before. It can also help with pain. And meditation can generate kindness. Some types of meditation may increase positive feeling and action towards yourself and others. Meditation can also decrease blood pressure. Another meta-analysis of 12 studies enrolling nearly 1,000 participants found that meditation helps reduce blood pressure. Blood pressure decrease not only during meditation, but also over a period of time in individuals who meditate regularly. This can reduce strain on the heart, on the arteries, and help prevent other heart-related disease. So how do you meditate? By simple sitting sometimes and taking deep breaths in and exhaling out. When you do that, when you inhale and exhale, it decreases sympathetic nervous system and it increases the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is what keeps you calm and even keel. The sympathetic nervous system is that system that you always anxious and always on the run. So we need sometimes when we find ourselves anxious and edgy and just, not feeling ourselves. Let's take time, sit down, go in a calm, quiet room or area, wherever, and sit and start taking deep breaths. 10 deep breaths in slowly and exhale slowly out 10 times. Simple that can help. Some people also engage in other type of meditation. Whatever you find is comfortable for you, do some form of meditation. Some people listen to calming music, that is also good. Some people do different types of like yoga and different type of meditations like that. Whatever you find is calming for you, you can do it. But you must do some form of meditation because it changes that sympathetic nervous system to that parasympathetic system that helps you keep calm and extend your life.
Emilyn, I think that, there's a lot of Bible verses that talk about us aging. And so I'm going to share a few of them with us, just simply because we know that the Bible, there were many people in the Bible who lived to be old. Methuselah, Noah, all these people lived to be old. And so we know that God was with them. He walked with them. So we want to age well through meditation. I like what you said, Emilyn, about we can sing, we can quote scripture, just breathing as a form of meditation. Did you notice she kept saying medication all together? Well, meditation is a form of healthy medication. But, there's two things that I want to just share with you about meditation. When we want to age successfully or age well, it's a spiritual reflection and affirmation of life. All are at different ages right now. There may be people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s like myself, or 70 that are on the call today. And now is a good time to just do some spiritual reflection of the goodness of God over our lives. That in itself can help you age well because it keeps your mind focused on God. And then affirming those things in life that you have accomplished or have done. I was blessed. My parents, both of them lived to be 92. And that was a blessing. And when I was reading research earlier this week, it says the expected age span of of American is 79 years old. We know the Bible talks about, the age span as well, but my parents lived beyond what the Bible said and beyond what the expected age of 79 years old in the United States. But what we do know is when we honor our father and our mother, the Bible says in Exodus 20:12 that our days will be long in the land that God will give you. It could be on this earth, it could be in the heavenly earth, but it just means that being honorable to your parents is one way to live long. Again, sometimes we don't look at it that way, but it is truly a promise that God has given to us. Another one is in Ecclesiastes 7:10. Do not say, where were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions. So sometimes people say, I don't want to get old because old people have aches, old people have pains, old people have memory loss. That is not necessarily true. You can age well. My parents, both of them were in their right mind. They knew all their children, and they knew God when they passed away. So again, it's not so much that things are better when we're younger, because many times we're not as wise as when we're older. So be grateful for the moment and the season that God has you in right now. That is one way to meditate positively and age well, is to be grateful for this present moment. Psalms 37:25 says, I've been young, now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. All of us can say that. All of us can look back on where we've come from and see how God has never, ever, ever forsaken us. And that's something good to meditate on, is on his promise that we will never be forsaken. 2 Corinthians 4:16 says, therefore we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we're wasting away, maybe we're getting old, maybe our body doesn't look the same, but yet inwardly we're being renewed day by day. So even if you look in the mirror and say, that doesn't look like how I looked 20 years ago or 10 years ago or 5 years ago, that's okay. Long as inwardly your heart is drawn to God and drawn closer to him through reading his word and studying his word and obeying his word, it's okay how you look on the outside, because we're all going to change some way, one way or another, as we get older. I've heard people say, oh, you look the same, Jennifer. I'm like, oh, really? 60 years later, I look the same? Really? But to them, I do, but to me, I'm not sure. And then Isaiah 46:4 says, even to your young age and gray hair, I am he. God is with us. He's going to sustain us. He's made us. He's going to carry us. He will rescue us. Isn't that great news? That no matter how old we get, that God will sustain us. When we keep moving, when we keep sharpening our memory, he's going to carry us and he's going to rescue us. We can claim these promises. Many times old people feel like they have no more purpose because no one asked them to do things in church or do things with the family, and they begin to feel isolated. They feel like they don't have the skills or the knowledge that some of the younger people do. But God here in Isaiah 46:4 says, you know what? I'm going to keep you. I'm going to sustain you. I'm going to carry you. I'm going to rescue you. That's very exciting news to me. So this last one, he gives strength to the weary. So if you're older and you're aging, you think you're, going downhill, which is not necessarily true. He said that he would increase the power of the weak. And so one way we do that is we keep moving. Sometimes we do get weak because we don't exercise, we don't use it, and we will lose it, like Emilyn said. Sometimes we're not intentional about doing things that will stimulate our minds. We have that passive life that we live in. But this is important, that we know that God will give us strength. Even when we're young, when we're old, he will increase our power. He'll increase our memory. He'll sharpen our memory. He'll strengthen our muscles if we meditate on his holy word. So the 3 M's of aging well, what are they, Emilyn? And she has her mic closed. What are they, Emilyn?
Okay, we have memory, we have movement, and we have meditation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think, Emilyn, I think we've given enough information, but I want to open up the floor and see if there's any questions that anyone has that what we spoke about for those 3 topics of how to age well. Any questions? Oh, so we have someone on our platform, Miss Emilyn. Mrs. Edwards, Bernice Edwards is 83 years old in 3 months.
Oh,
And
boy.
January the 31st, she'll be 84, and she looks good. Let me see.
Yes,
Let me
yes,
see if
there
she has
she
her
is.
cam- let me
Raise
see
your
if she has her-
hand.
Where's her camera? Oh, there she is.
There
Let's
she
give
is.
her a hand.
Yes, yes.
God has blessed me, and she's always smiling. She's the busiest 83-year-old that I ever
Yeah,
know.
yes.
I heard she was down at Camping Stadium this week volunteering for some 50 Fiesta or something. Like, what is she doing down there? And she was down
Yeah.
there helping. Thank you,
It's-
Mrs. Edwards, for being so
All
supportive.
right.
Yeah,
I enjoyed today.
yeah.
Oh, good. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, I know. And not only, she's so active. When I see her walk, I just
Yeah.
admire you, Miss Bernice, when you walk. You are straight and not even bent. And
Yeah.
you don't even walk with a stick, you walk. It reminds me, of course, I think you're a military person. So I see that militant in you, straight standing, not bending, not shifting. You have such a graceful walk. I always admire you when I see you walking.
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Edwards, what would you attribute your long life to?
Well, first of all, giving God the glory. I thank him for giving me 2 parents that lived to be 95 years old.
Wow.
And I certainly hope that he has given me some of their genes.
And she loves helping
Yes, yes,
people.
yes.
She enjoys it.
Yeah, yeah. And because you keep active, Miss Bernice, you are so active. I
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
admire how active you are. You never say no. You're always up doing something. Yeah.
Thank you. I was in a hurry to get back today to listen to this program. My sister and I just returned from the funeral of one of our original nurses of the Central Florida Black Nurses. She lost her husband, and we went to attended his funeral today.
Oh,
We saw her. We took some pictures, so I will send them to Dr. Sankey so she can send them out. But Dorothy Moore was her name, and some of
Oh.
our older members might remember her. But
Oh.
she loved Central Florida Black Nurses, and even at her age, I think she's 86 now, but she has never stopped praising us and telling people about Central Florida Black Nurses.
Wow. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
Mhm.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mrs. Edwards. Anyone else want to share what they've attributed their long life, longevity, all of that to? Anyone? Or any advice that we did not talk about as it relates to the memory and movement and meditation that you have found helpful, that's kept your memory sharp or kept you really moving and in sync? Anyone? All right.
Yeah, Dr. Sankey, when you were talking about memory and you talk about association, that is such a key for me to remember things. I have to associate because especially with names, I will associate somebody's name. Well, okay, that's my sister's name, or that's my daughter's name, or I have a friend, I associate. So, and people just feel so excited when I meet them again. I call them by name.
Yes.
They feel so special. Oh, you remember my name.
Yeah.
But it's because I associate that person with someone. So, do that association game. It really helps. When I was in school, in college, that's how I got through, things that I have to memorize by association. It really helps. And writing things down.
And that helps when you go to the grocery store too, because especially if you haven't written down your list, I need soap, socks, and, but I could put all the S's together.
Right, right.
And then
Yes.
that way you can help remember and you don't have to try to, so you won't forget and leave the store with
Yeah.
all what
Yeah.
what you went for.
Yeah. And it's a good practice. It strengthens your memory when you
It does.
memorize things. That's okay to have your cheat sheet, but try to memorize it because
Absolutely.
it strengthens your memory. Galaxy Note 8.
That's
That's
me,
it.
Lenore.
Oh, Lenore.
I couldn't get on with my tablet tonight.
Oh, okay.
This was really, really good and timely because I'm getting older too, 69. I can't believe it, but I'm
Oh.
still here.
Praise
So
God.
one of the things that I think that has really hurt us as far as memorization is concerned is our cell phones, computers, quick access to everything. Back in the day, I remembered everybody's phone numbers. All my schools, I remembered all their numbers. People's names, you remembered everything. But now you just check, oh, I can even pull it up on my computer. Let me pull it up on my this. So we don't use our brain cells as much as we used to. So because we don't use it, we lose it.
I agree with you.
That's so true, Lenore. That is so true. Yeah.
Remember your
So
phone
I'm
number?
trying, take my grocery list, leave it, put it down somewhere. What was it that I wanted again? And then I'll check, because that's the only way to really keep you focused, because and there's so many things bombarding us day in and day out and day in and day out that our minds are overwhelmed. So they have to throw something.
You're
Yes.
right.
That's it. This was really good for me. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Thank you, Lenore.
One thing I've also done is I have actually limited how many things I try to get done in one day, because I'm the type of person, the more I do, the better I think I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? But that's not necessarily true. It's actually what I'm finding is if I choose to do 3 to 4 things, big things I need to get done, I'm more content, satisfied, and not as stressed. So I think sometimes we make this long list to get done in one day. There's always tomorrow, unless it's something very urgent that needs to be done today. So again, free up your mind space is what I'm really saying. Do not overcrowd it with things that maybe can wait for the next day.
Yeah, because stress is the killer for our memory. Stress is the killer for our even muscle and everything. Stress is the killer because what stress does, it causes these cytokines, these chemicals in our body that attack our cells. And we are cellular, we all have cells in our body that contribute to different parts, different organs, different, areas of the body. And if our cells are destroyed and not kept healthy, that's when we start getting diseases. So this, because our cells do go through stress. I was reading one article was talking about how stem cells are so important. And if they are stressed, they do not fold. I guess they fold when they have the protein, they fold the protein a certain way. And what happens when they're stressed, this folding of proteins are not exact. It has to be exact, and it can cause malformation. The cells can become malformed and can cause stuff like, for example, cancer. So it's so important to decrease stress in our life.
Absolutely. Well, I don't see any more questions, Emilyn. So I think we have completed our conversation about the 3 M's of aging well. And I would encourage our audience to tell someone this week about how they can age well by the 3 M's. So we need to think more, memorize more, move more, and meditate more.
Yeah.
So we're going to do more of it so that we can age well. So let's go ahead and close out with prayer. And Emma,
before you close with prayer,
yes.
I just put a question in the chat. If you could just include the link for us, please. I'd like to share this. You're muted.
You're muted, Dr. Sankey, you're muted.
I will need to download it.
No problem.
And then we'll get it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So we're going to stop the recording and we are going to take prayer requests at this time. If anyone